Now, you would think, given the current job market, trying to keep employees would not be a problem, but it is. According to some statistics, upwards of 50% of the workforce is considering leaving their current positions. Lori Karpman is an entrepreneur and lawyer. She's also a management consultant. She joins us now. Welcome.
Good day.
So it begs the question, in an economy like this, when you're hearing about layoffs all the time, why would you be concerned about losing employees?
It's very interesting because what we're talking about today when we talk about employees is we're not talking necessarily about employees who are being laid off because there's no business, and we're not really talking about people who get fired for poor performance. So what we're talking about are the key players in your company that, especially in times like today, that you really want to keep and you want to keep happy. Because as you mentioned, over 50% of the workforce is currently looking or evaluating other opportunities.
Now, why is it? Is it because in times like this you start to sort of question your own future with the company? And you start wondering if you do have a future, if you should be looking at other things? Is this kind of economy the kind of economy that makes people ask themselves questions?
Yeah, it's exactly that kind of economy where people say to themselves, I'm not that happy, or I don't have a good relationship with my boss. Let me see what else is out there, what other opportunities there are. Because the number one reason that people leave their jobs is because they don't get along with their boss. That's the number one reason. Other than that, they leave because there's no growth opportunities for them, so they're sort of at a dead-end job, or they leave because the job just hasn't met their expectations.
Now, on the flip side of that, people could then say to you, well, but in an economy like this, when there are so many good people looking for work, does it really matter if you lose somebody because you can find somebody to replace them?
It does, because the biggest factor and your biggest cost in employee turnover is the fact that, let's say you have someone and they have relationships with your clients and they've been working with your clients for 10 years, and that person decides that the grass is greener somewhere else, they get another opportunity and they leave. Now you have to replace that person. So there's the cost of finding the right person and replacing them. There's the cost of training them. And there's the fact that they don't have relationships with your suppliers. So your old employees have this corporate knowledge that they bring with them, and they have relationships. And what we do know is that industry standard is that when an employee leaves, if he's a sales rep and he has a clientele, on average 30% of the clients will follow them. That doesn't include the percentage of clients who are going to say, you know what, now that Joe's not there anymore, I think I'm going to try their competitors. I had a good relationship with Joe, but I think I'll try a competitor now. So the loss, the actual financial loss to the company is 3, 4, 5 times the salary of that employee.
Yeah, and it's bad for morale too, right? Because if somebody sees a top performer leave to go somewhere else, then it's got a ripple effect, and it makes other people question whether they should be staying as well.
Exactly, because sometimes they'll say, well, John's not here anymore, he's the one I like the most, or he's the one I learned from. But for the most part, when a valued employee and colleague leaves, it has a tremendous detrimental effect on the morale, and that causes absenteeism, loss of productivity, and like you say, it makes people start thinking, well, if he left, what else is there for me? So it's a huge, huge number when you have to start looking for new employees.
Well, thank you so much for coming. You're going to stick around with us for a while, though, I hope.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Great.